Hi everyone, I'm Ryan from Go Natural English, and today I'm talking about financial vocabulary. So finance is basically the management of money, which plays a super important role in many parts of our lives. And whether you are an impulsive spender or a frugal spender like me, which means you're very careful with your money, it's important to have an understanding of the words associated with finance so that you can make smarter, better decisions with your money. Over the last 5 years, I've traveled the world and I've worked as an English teacher, as a sports teacher, and even as a science teacher. And it was my understanding of words like credit and interest and net that allowed me to manage my money in a way that I could keep traveling and keep doing all of these awesome things. And I've put together these words and a few others into a list for today's lesson. And hopefully they can help you just like they helped me on my journey. Stick around to the end of the video where I'll share a fun travel story using one of the words that we learned today. And if you like this video, consider giving us a thumbs up. It really helps us know what kind of content you like and how we can help build this awesome, growing Go Natural community. All right, let's get after it. So the first word in today's lesson is gross. Now, we might know this word meaning disgusting or nasty, but in finance, gross is the amount of money before taxes and other things are taken out. So for example, I might say, my gross salary is $80,000. But after taxes, I only have $50,000, which reminds me of an old English expression. There's only two certainties in life, and that's death and taxes. But number two is related. It's similar to gross, and it's net. The net is the amount of money after taxes and other deductions are taken out. So using the previous example, my gross salary is $80,000, but my net salary is $50,000. I would be taking home $50,000 because the government takes the other 30. So gross and net are going to be most useful when talking about how much money you earn or profits or your wages from a job. So now that we've talked about gross and net, I want to talk about two other words that are related, that relate to tax. There are some cases in which you'll pay less tax. Number three is deduction, which means paying less tax. For example, if you have children, each child might bring a tax deduction of $1,000 or $2,000. Number four is similar, but it's an exemption. And this means you pay no taxes, a certain part of your salary or from somewhere else, from another source of income. And did you know that American citizens and green card holders are required to pay taxes no matter where in the world they live? So I'm a student in Germany, but I'm still required to pay US taxes. But luckily, I have an exemption because I don't earn enough money. So I don't pay any taxes, which is good. Of course, taxes are necessary. They help governments build new roads, maintain public services, healthcare systems, certain educational systems. So of course we need to pay taxes. But for me, I'm very lucky right now. I don't earn enough, and therefore I don't have to pay taxes. I am tax exempt. In addition to deductions and exemptions, I want to talk about word number 5. Which is loopholes. Tax loopholes, little tricks in which individuals or companies can legally avoid paying taxes. So one of the more recent famous loopholes, you might be familiar with Amazon, the company Amazon. Over a few years, they avoided paying any federal taxes, and it was completely legal. So you can't fault them, but they found loopholes in the government regulations that allowed them to avoid paying taxes. So far we've been talking about words related to income and taxes. But now I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about words related to bank accounts or investments. And the first one, which is number 6 in today's lesson, is principal. Now you might know principal as the leader of a school or to be the main subject of something. But in finance, principal is the original amount of money in an account or a loan, for example. So I might say, last year I invested $1,000 and now it's worth $1,200. My principal amount was $1,000 and now it's worth $1,200, which leads me to our next word, which is balance. Now, balance, you might be thinking of somebody on a rope, walking on a rope, or something like that. But in finance, balance is the current amount of money in an account. So using the previous example again, if I deposited $1,000 into an investment account last year, and now it's worth $1,200, my current balance, or my balance, is $1,200, the amount of money in the account today. So the principal amount was $1,000, and the balance today is $1,200. Balance can also be used when talking about your bank account. If you have $200 in the bank, that means you have a balance of $200. Balance can also be used in terms of credit and credit cards. If you used a credit card to buy a new TV, 55-inch flat, high definition, you love it, but you had to pay $1,000 for this, then you have a balance of $1,000 on your credit card. And hopefully you pay it off fast, because number 8 is going to really increase the costs of your purchase. So number 8 is interest. And interest is the fee that you have to pay for borrowing money. And this fee is calculated based on the interest rate, which is number 9 in today's lesson. So using our previous example with the beautiful TV, the interest rate was 10%, and I used $1,000 of credit to pay for it. Then that means that each year I would pay 10% of $1,000, which is $100. So my interest would be $100, and the interest rate would be 10%. Now, we could have an entire lesson on interest and figuring out how to avoid paying so much money in fees, and what is the difference between simple interest and compound interest, whether it compounds quarterly or annually or semi-annually. All these different things play a lot of roles. But for the simplicity of today's lesson, just remember that interest rate is the percentage of the balance that you have to pay as a fee for borrowing money. Number 10. We've made it to the end of the list, and I've been talking a lot about money and different complexities and owing money, borrowing money, investing and accumulating more money. And the final word is when you don't have any money, and it's broke. And broke is somewhat of a slang term, and you would use this with a friend or a parent or somebody that you're very familiar with. And if you say, I'm broke, that means you have no money. So if my friend William asks me, hey Ryan, do you want to come to Disneyland tomorrow? I do, but I can't because I'm broke. I don't have any money. So that wraps up the list. And I said at the beginning of the video that I would share a fun travel story at the end of the list. A few years ago, I took a flight from San Francisco to Stockholm, Sweden for $70. This is crazy, $70 to go from the West Coast to Europe. Unbelievable. When I arrived in Stockholm, I took a bus, a night bus, from Stockholm to Gothenburg. And when I got off the bus, I realized that I didn't have my wallet. It was gone. I don't know if somebody stole it or if I just dropped it, but I couldn't find it, and I called everywhere, nobody had it. And so I sat down in the bus station and no one was there, completely empty. And I'm sitting there by myself at night with no money, and I don't know how I'm going to pay or buy anything. And I sit there, I'm shocked and confused and sad. And after an hour, I stand up and I look under my foot. I see something. And there's 100 euros. I couldn't believe it. It was like a sign. It was something magical from the universe. And I was able to use this money, this $100, in an efficient way. I had to be very careful with this money. And I was able to survive for the next week. And eventually I got some money from a friend and was able to finish out my travels in Sweden and Poland. So there you have it, a fun little travel story and a list of words that you can use the next time you're talking about money. And do you have any crazy, interesting stories about finding money on the ground? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want extra free English tips sent directly to your inbox, we can do that. And you can find out in the description below. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. And if you want to continue on your English journey today, you can check out one of these videos. And until then, I'm Ryan. This is Go Natural English, and I'll see you next time. Bye!